All right, in this short demo, we're going to show you how to convert Kaggle's facial key points detection competition into a Kubeflow pipeline using the open source Kale JupyterLab extension. So we're going to assume that you've successfully built the previous pipeline using the KFP SDK, which means that you should have the following environment already prepared. Kubeflow deployed via Ricto's Kubeflow as a service, a notebook server with 2 CPUs, 2 gigs of RAM, as well as 10 gigabytes of storage. The facial key points detection directory already cloned from Kubeflow examples GitHub repo, as well as a Kaggle username and API token. So with that said, the first thing to do is to open up our notebook, navigate to the project directory, and open up the Kale notebook. And with the Kale notebook opened up, the next thing we want to do is we want to enable the Kale JupyterLab extension. So you see we click on the icon and we just toggle the enable switch. So we're now ready to run our first cell, which is going to be that we want to install our packages. And once our packages are successfully installed, you're going to want to restart the kernel. All right, with our kernel restarted, we're ready to now download the Kaggle data. So in this cell, what we need to do is to substitute in our Kaggle username as well as our token, and with that information there, we're ready to go ahead and run that particular cell. That'll go ahead and download the data. Next up is we want to go to the import cell. So here's where we're going to import various libraries like NumPy and TensorFlow and Pandas, and then that moves us on to our next step, which is where we specify our pipeline parameters, and here in this case it's trials, epochs, as well as patients. That moves us on to the next cell, which is going to be our first pipeline step, which is going to be the train pipeline step, and takes us to our final pipeline step, which is going to be the Eval pipeline step. And you can see that we're using Kale annotations versus writing a bunch of boilerplate code. So with that said, we're ready to click the compile and run button. What happens here is the notebook's going to be validated, a snapshot's taken, we upload the pipeline, and now the pipeline is running. So let's click on the view hyperlink. That'll take us automatically to the runtime execution graph where we can see the pipeline running. You can see we've created a volume, we completed the train step, now we complete the eval step. The next thing to do is you can explore the various steps in the pipeline. You can get information like inputs and outputs, visualizations, details associated with the step, volume information, logs, pods, events, as well as artifacts and ML metadata. And that's it. You have successfully created a Kubeflow pipeline using the open source Kale JupyterLab extension for Kaggle's facial key points detection competition.